You enjoy Painkiller? I bet you do, you naughty, naughty little boys and girls. You love shooting things like you're in Serious Sam with a gothic tone, with a little gothic filter. Oh, I bet you do.
Ew, God, what is this, King Jiffy? What, do you work at Activision Blizzard or something? This is disgusting. This is an HR call waiting to happen.
Cortana, I'm just trying to be the Riz Daddy here. I had this whole setup where I was gonna, ease them in, be like, yeah, you've heard of Painkiller? Oh, yeah, it was kind of a Serious Sam clone back in the day, but really stylized and cool.
Well, you came off more as guy who drools while looking at preschool.
Jesus, Cortana, I'm not that kind of YouTuber. I know it's like a pandemic out there of idiot PDF file YouTubers, but come on, man, I deserve a little bit more credit than that.
You're right, your thing is more being just fat and stupid and way too rambly. We all know what you are. In fact, this whole intro is kind of stupid because I know we're not actually talking about Painkiller. We're probably talking about some Euro or indie trash that no one actually cares about and not gonna push any engagement.
Nuh-uh. Shut up. You're stupid. You can't even eat bread, and bread's tasty, you stupid hologram. Anyway, we're talking about Bloodhound, developed by Kruger and Flint Productions. Sure, it's out of Poland, which just happens to be in Europe. That doesn't mean you're right. Look at this cool-ass intro we got with the comic book. I can feel it in my testes right now, baby. This is gonna be a stylized masterpiece, and you're gonna eat your goddamn words, Cortana. Look how cool he is. He's just mashing people up in this comic book-styled cutscene, getting on a motorcycle and then driving off like a badass, like all badasses do. Yeah, he just chills. Where's his fucking hand? Why don't I have a hand? Why is that revolver just floating?
Do you not get it, King Jiffy? This is obviously a stylistic choice. You need a trigger. You're so badass you don't even need a trigger finger. You just wish the bullets into existence.
You're not gonna make me feel bad about my purchase and me making a video on this game. Sure, I bought the game at full price, but full price was $11, so I don't think I can get too mad when there's not a hand model on the gun. Is it a little bit disappointing? Sure, but I bought this game knowing it was gonna be a janky version of Painkiller from the get-go. I mean, it's not like this game is misleadingly advertised. When I first saw the pictures and saw the shotgun and stuff and the trailer, I noticed that the guns didn't have hand models to them, and I thought that was a little quirky. And I thought, this game's gonna be an absolute flaming pile of dog shit. I'm gonna pick it up. It'll be great for my viewers. But what I didn't expect is for this game to be as atmospheric as it is. Now, this is the first level. This is where you're first provided at what this experience is going to be. And there's a few funny takeaways. One, the staff you're handed is just absolutely OP. Two, this game just seems to give you a new weapon every 3 seconds. So if you don't like one of the weapons that you're given, there's going to be a chance that you're going to get something new and better looking to replace it in no time. And I have to say, the weapons you are provided with in this first level and throughout this entire gaming experience are pretty solid. Now, are they great? No. I mean, they miss a lot of the little things that makes a good shooter a good shooter. When it comes to feel in this game, it's doing the job. It's like doing it with your right hand is a good shooter, and this game's kind of left-handing. But the one thing that is fun is when you kill something, they explode. Let's take a look at that one more time in slow motion here. Right now in this moment, I'm taking a hardcore frontal push toward her body, and I load up that next shot of buckshot and blow up her body, and all that is left is her limbs and her head. And every single time you kill something in this game, this is what happens. You're left with this giant mass of limbs and heads laying around. It's fucking hilarious. I don't understand how anybody could play this game and not have at least a little bit of fun. When it comes to level design, right away it's got a great atmosphere, a decent level design. Half of the enemies are just topless women. I don't understand what was going on in this Polish developer. I mean, it's a Polish developer. We've all played the Witcher game, so I know exactly what was going on. But it's just so funny that you're getting ran at with a bunch of people dressed in BDSM with blurred out tits. Yeah, the tits are all blurred out. Now, I don't know if the PC version of this game blurs it out, but I do know the PlayStation 5 version does, and it was just so great to me. There was nothing better than just seeing a sea of topless, blurred out women running you down with goddamn swords while you blow them into arms, legs, and heads. What drew me to buying this game in the first place is its aesthetic. I mean, look at this gun you see on screen right now. This crossbow looks sick as fuck. It's it's got a goat's horn on the top front of it. It looks cooler than the Painkiller guns do, and every single gun you pick up in this game is aesthetically pleasing to this degree. They all are over the top and badass, because who needs hands when your guns look that sick? But early on, I knew exactly what this game was going to be. Now, in the pictures and stuff, I kind of had a feeling that it was going for a very Painkiller-like aesthetic. It was Painkiller made in Poland on a shoestring budget of people just doing hand jobs in the back corner to pay the staff for that day. Which paid off, because any game that's fully willing to give me 2 super shotguns from Doom that have horns, I am going to play your game. It's going to happen. And I'm going to say, these guns fucking slap some clit. It is one of the highlights of this game, and it's one of the creative choices that I just said, yeah, this fucking rocks. Even though they don't have hands that are holding them, they just kind of hover in the air because somehow your character has telekinetic powers where he doesn't need to actually hold the guns. But if that's the case, why wouldn't you just use all the guns at the same time? Or if there would have been a power-up where all the guns hover in like a giant circle, wait, that would have cost way too much. I need to give these guys a little bit of a break, considering this is an $11 game full price. I mean, this is probably their first game. I mean, I would have to actually look up their website and see if it's their first game to tell you for sure. Let's see here. You're into games and more. Kruger and Flint Productions is an independent Polish studio established in 2021 and based in Warsaw. The company develops and produces premium indie projects, among others. Bloodhound is our debut project. Kruger and Flint Production consists of experienced game developers who have previously worked on projects with various companies, including Techland, The Astronauts, QLOC, CI Games, La Poppy Games, and Wasteland Interactive. So yeah, it is their first game, but I don't know about premium indie titles, because this game doesn't scream premium to me. This screams bottom of the Steam store page that I'll probably forget I've even played in a few years, but had fun while I played it. That's kind of where your games sit. This isn't one where I'm sitting here and I'm just fucking jizzing at the bit like when I played Dusk. Because there was legit moments where I was killing stuff and there was like this giant line that would cut across my screen, and it would make me think that my TV was broken when there was just like screen tearing in the game itself. Now, is that gonna be game breaking where I'm not having fun? No, it's fine. There's nothing where this game absolutely crashed and ruined my experience. It runs fine, but there is a lot of frame rate drops. There's a lot of other bullshit that you run into, and I'm willing to overlook that bullshit like some people won't, because it's an $11 fucking game. I'm not out here just dropping $70 and the shit barely works like some of these AAA developers. I will give them that. And on top of that, the level design was incredibly fun. So there was some really redeeming qualities in this game, but premium, I don't know about that, guys. And it's funny how they listed their, like, wow, we worked at Techland. I'm sorry, but every Techland game I've ever played is a little bit better than this. This game needed a lot more time in the oven, and I think that they would have had an absolute banger here, but they pushed it out to get their name out in recognition. And because of that, you do have a lot of issues, like I said, where you'll get like these weird tears, like you can see on screen constantly throughout this video, where it'll seem like the screen's like shifting or like ripping and stuff. That's not me. That is not my devices. That is the game itself. I thought my TV was maybe funking up, but when I looked at my captured footage, it was doing it on there too, so I know it's not the TV. I know it's not my PlayStation 5, because that bitch just broke, and I just had them send me a new one. So everything here should be working in premium situations, and it's just not. The game isn't. The game isn't. I think maybe if they would have like toned down the art style and maybe went with more of an indie design, but still kept the aesthetics that they have in this game, they probably could have brought a much better game to market. But at the state it's kind of in, it feels a little unfinished. I think I misworded myself there. It's not the art style that has a problem in this game. It's the fact that it's trying to do too much with the capabilities that they had in terms of graphical capabilities. The game is too shiny and pretty for what this engine or this team could handle, and that's why the game seems to have a lot of performance issues and drops. I mean, the enemy AI is absolutely functionally retarded. There is nothing in this game that's like intelligent when it comes to battle. After this game, I started playing like Return to Castle Wolfenstein, and I was baffled that the enemies had the audacity to hide behind corners and then wait for me to come to them, when everything in this game just kind of charges you. And I know that it's a Painkiller like or a Serious Sam like, but even the enemies in those games seem to have some sort of intuitive intuitive design to where some would rush you, some would stay back and just shoot you. This game, everything just kind of funnels your way to death. And I'm usually not the guy to talk about difficulty. It's because I play a lot of games on easy. I don't feel like I'm much of a sweat when it comes to video games. In my bio of my channel, I say I play video games terribly, so don't take me too seriously. It's one of those things that I know about myself, but this game is freaking easy, dude. I mean, the difficulty is the equivalent of your sister. You need negative Riz to slide into that pussy. It's so freaking easy. Sometimes it's even a sleepwalk. I jumped this game's difficulty up to medium and then up to hard, and it's still not much of a challenge. The only challenge comes from the fact that there's really no indication of you losing health, so you'll just kind of die out of nowhere, and you're like, oh, okay. It's one of those games that just kind of, it's fun, it has a lot going for it, but when it comes to the thing, it's kind of a sleep fest in terms of like enemy AI and actual difficulty in the game. But that's okay, because I wasn't going into this game expecting a masterpiece. I've said that numerous times throughout this video. I went into this game because I thought the weapon models looked cool and I thought the environments were well built. And this game is constantly saying, yeah, we built great enemies, we built great weapons, and we built great levels. And I know I just said that the enemies are dumb, but that's not the only factor that comes to making an enemy. The enemy designs are really, really pretty. Almost everything in this game is cool looking, and it gives different throwbacks to different shooters of the same genres. It's one of those games that throughout it, I had to say, I stopped and looked at a lot of what this game was doing. It has a really pretty sheen to it. It has cool enemies. It has solid weapon designs, and they all feel decent, but it's kind of the sound design, because the sound design is absolutely atrocious in this game. It's one of the worst things about this game throughout the whole thing. I mean, even sometimes when you'll kill an enemy, it'll make a weird like pop, whoa sound, like I'm playing a fucking Mario game. It really doesn't know what it's doing, and everything, it feels a bit off with the weapons, but I think it comes from the sound design, because yeah, when I'm shooting the plasma gun, it does feel like a little different than the other plasma guns I faced, but I think that was a stylistic choice in the fact that this plasma gun isn't like fully automatic, and it does a little more damage, so it's shooting less rounds, but dealing more damage. Is kind of like a give or take compared to other shooters. When I went in, when I first got the plasma gun, I expected it to be Doom 3's plasma gun or any of the Doom's plasma guns. It's not. It fires really freaking slow. Now, I kind of want to touch on bosses for a second right here. Now, this is just kind of footage from the last boss in the game. I guess spoilers or whatever. I mean, it's a 2-hour game. Showing any footage is a spoiler for this game. It's freaking short, man. And that's like, it's like 3 hours maybe if you get lost a lot where you can't find a key or some shit, but it's mainly a 2-hour game if you know what you're doing. But the last boss isn't even that hard. Now, I died a bunch while facing it, and it wasn't even the fact that I died a bunch. I had it set up to a higher difficulty, and I was like, oh, everything's kind of a sleepwalk. And then I got to the last boss, and it's not that it's hard, it's just a battle of attrition. Because every other boss kind of boils down to this in the game. You shoot the bitch until it dies. That's point blank what you do. It is the most basic boss design ever, and again, they are cool looking bosses. Even the last boss is incredibly cool while she's flying around with her big ass titties, and it is one of those things that by the end of the game you've seen enough tits to where you're kind of over it. And that's me saying that. Mr. used to put titties on every single one of his thumbnails because he thought it was funny. Yeah, I was getting fed up with the tits in this game, but yeah, it was a cool boss, and it seemed like it had some cool mechanics, but every time you fired anything at this bitch, it just seemed to do no damage. And that makes it this long ass battle of attrition. It doesn't matter what difficulty you put this boss on, it is a long fucking boss fight. You're looking at like 15 minutes of just firing rounds into this bitch, and when you run out of ammo, you run around the arena, pick up more ammo, and then just completely mag dump until you start over again. None of the little weird mechanics where you use your slow motion or whatever, none of these added mechanics that they had in the game, they work fine, but I didn't use them very much because I didn't feel like I needed to. It just kind of felt like something else they threw in, and I feel like it was kind of a waste of time when they should have polished out the experience a little better instead of adding in these mechanics. Cool ideas, but I don't think you had the funding and the time to implement them the way you should have. But But yeah, it was just such a battle of attrition. I was just so sick of it by the time the game was over. Like, it was one of those things that when I got to the last boss, I was like, oh, this is definitely the last boss. I can feel it in the bottom of my ball sack. I know this is it. I'm excited. I'm ready for it. And dear God, did she just take forever. And I know I'm harping on this, and this probably is drawn out more than her actual boss fight is, but it was just something that I was looking over a lot of things in this game. A lot of the moments that I thought were kind of mid or whatever, but this boss fight was so long that I started like making a tally in my head everything this game has done wrong up until this point, and that's such a big problem when you get to something like this. If you're a developer listening to this, and this is one of your early games, take note that if you have something that is so atrociously long and poorly designed, just because you know your game isn't difficult and you want to just catch the player off guard, don't do this. Don't do this, because then they're going to start thinking, wow, this is piss poorly designed. What else in this game is piss poorly designed? And it was just something that constantly ate at the thorn of my being. And I know you've heard me say a lot of good and a lot of bad for this game, and I think that there should be a large pill to swallow when it comes to something like this. Now, this game is going to probably go on sale for a couple bucks constantly. It's one of those type of games, and it is something that you could turn your brain off and have fun with. Look at the cool enemies. Look at the cool weapons. It is totally worth that. I think there is some real great imagination power pushing this game forward, and there's incredible ideas, and I want to see what else this development team can do, because honestly, there is so much good in this game in terms of the level design, the atmosphere, the weapons. I mean, yeah, the soundtrack works, but it's all copyright music, so next time try to make some original music, okay guys? But for the most part, there is so much cool ideas, so many great ideas put through in this game in terms of how everything looks. But you need to focus on the big details. Now, you had all the little stuff there. 100% had all the little stuff there. From beginning to end, I felt like they had all the little things. And sometimes the little things are the most important. But if you miss out on the big things in a game, it'll feel like your game just kind of will be lost to eternity. And there's parts of this game that most of this game I've already forgotten. And that kind of sucks, considering most of the time I give myself a couple days to really process the game that I just played and think about how I'm going to sit down and make this video and script it out. Who am I kidding? I don't really script out the videos. It's more like bullet points. But when I bullet point it out and leave my notes for myself, usually I give myself those couple of days, like I said. But this game, by a couple days had gone by, and I'd forgotten like 70% of it. All that I was left with was, wow, those were some of the coolest weapon designs I'd ever seen in a game. Too bad they didn't feel great to use. Huh, those were really cool boss fights. Too bad they were fucking battles of attrition. And it just kind of sits in this space where I want these guys to keep making games. I want people to pay money for this game on sale. I'm going to preface on sale as hard as I can. Cock on the table, buy this on sale. But I want these guys to be able to make more adventures, because what they had here is a great proof of concept. It is not finished, it is not polished, it is kind of a mess at times, but I can see the ideas are there. And it's one of those times that a lot of times I'll shit on a game and I'll talk crap about it 100%, but there's so much good. I mean, look at the crossbow on goddamn screen. Do I have to mention how cool this crossbow looks? Every single individual weapon in this game looks amazing. I have never seen weapon designs other than maybe Prey 2006 that were this over the top and this amazing. And it wears its inspiration on its sleeve. I mean, it has a lot of overlap with Painkiller, and I think that it even does weapons better than Painkiller did in terms of how they look. The fact that these double barrel shotguns that you're holding, it looks so amazing in it, and I wanted to just keep using them. I use these guns more than anything else just because they look so cool, and they're one of the few guns in this game that feel absolutely amazing. It's just one of those things where I sit down and I think, is this game amazing? No. Is it even a good indie boomer shooter? Not really, but is it something worth playing? Absolutely. It's definitely a sale pickup any day of the week. Especially if you're like me, one of those people who like to play a little bit of a shitty game every now and then. Because there are levels to shitty, and I'm sure you know this. A game like Redfall that comes out and costs hundreds of millions of dollars, and you play it and there's nothing to do. It's boring. There's barely any enemies. All the weapon designs are boring as fuck. And then you you jump into this $11 game and everything is the opposite except for the guns feel way worse. It's a give and take that you have here, and sometimes it's fun to just jump into a shitty game and kill shit for a while with your brain turned off. Because I can tell you right now, cards on the table, I had more fun with this game, as shitty as it is, than Homefront the Revolution, then Redfall, then a lot of these games that really want my money, that cost way more, that had way more time and development on them, and way bigger studios. It's one of those things that I played enough of these solid AAA games that ended up being terrible games that were soulless, boring, tired. In this game, I can see that they had a dream, they had an idea, and they pushed it out on the scene, and sure, they forgot hand models, sure, they forgot a lot of the big things when it comes to sound design and feel, but they still did something, and it's inspirational to me that they can come out and put out this first product, and I know it's only up from here, and I hope to see them do really big, great things, because if they could fix a few things with this game, in their next game really try to polish out these details, and really try to button down and make something cool, this could be a studio to keep an eye on. But right now, if they make another game of this state, I see them kind of petering out and not existing in a few years. But that's all I got for you guys today, a short and sweet one, just like the game I played. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, I love you all, and like and dislike the video, I don't give a shit, it all is good for engagement, just like mean comments, so leave lots and lots of mean comments. I love all of those, I eat them up. It's like my guilty pleasure food. Instead of eating 80 pounds of cake, I read your angry comments and think about how I can be a better person. No, not really, I just think it's fun to argue with people in the comments of my videos. But yeah, I don't care. You guys have a good night. Deuces.